Sente is a core concept in Endgame. It's your key to playing powerful, pressuring your opponent and gaining points instead of losing them. Let's start with a real game example. This game was played by two Japanese professionals, Son Makoto and Suzuki Shinji. In this position, Black played a Kosumi entering White's area, and it would feel very natural for White to simply answer. However, this move would be gote, and the next move would belong to Black again. Instead of doing it, let's try to think, what else can be played on this board? You can see quite a large open area on the side, and White might try to surround a few points by playing around here. But this again would be a gote move. Can we think of any Sente moves which would bring White some profit? Yes, this modest second line jump might evade your attention, but actually it's a pretty much forcing move. If Black doesn't answer, then White will follow with the jump which destroys a lot of points of Black's territory. So Black is forced to block. And with this simple exchange, White managed to push the borders of the territories in his favor. This is the move which was played in the game, and then White continued with this second line descent, again threatening to enter Black's big area. Black blocked again, and now in both of these positions, White has also a continuation, which is also Sente, is the famous first line Hane. Hane, connect, and Black needs to answer. This way, White pushes the borders of the territories even more in his favor. Such a first line Hane gains 3 points in Sente. Only after playing these Sente exchanges, White can look at the whole board position and think what is the largest gote move that can be played right now. This example teaches us one more very important idea. Instead of answering every forcing or seemingly forcing move of your opponent, you can look for your own forcing moves first. Let's look at this basic example from late endgame. White pushes through and it looks like a forcing move. Many players would just answer without thinking. However, before answering, Black can play their own push through first. And when you look at it, Black's move threatens much more than White's move, so White will answer, and only after playing their Sente exchanges, Black will go back to answering White's move. This is how you show your fighting spirit in endgame. You don't always answer your opponent's Sente moves, but you try to insert your Sente moves first. Another classical situation is shown here. White plays the first line Hane, and knowing that this is the first line Hane, you might feel inclined to immediately answer. However, if you look at it more closely, actually White doesn't threaten much. If Black skips the answer and White captures Black's stone, it's worth more or less 5 points. It's not a very large move. Instead of answering to White's move by connecting, it's better for Black to play this move, which is worth actually more than 10 points. Yes, you will lose your corner, but it's actually the smallest corner in Go that you can lose.
Oh, come on! There's too much endgame already. It's too depressing.
Sure. And we have 2 courses in Go Magic about endgame specifically, where you will learn how to not lose 30 points, and a harder one in which you can learn how this corner crosscut is worth exactly 5 1/3 of a point. But these are technicalities, and we don't need to go into them deeper. However, we have one more very important principle about endgame to learn. In endgame, Sente moves are important, but the order in which you play them also matters. Look at this game which I played as White. If you fell in love with your first line Hanes, then you might rush now to play a first line Hane here to increase your territory, decrease the territory of Black. However, if later you want to also reduce Black's territory from the outside, then this move of White will be gote. In the actual game, I did it in the other order. I started by playing the Kosumi, and black needs to answer for his position to not fall apart. Only afterwards, I played the first 9 hane, and black needed to answer again. This way, I got both moves in Sente. This example teaches you two important things. First of all, don't play your Sente moves on the side too early, because they actually strengthen the shapes of your opponent. More specifically, in the endgame, first play the reductions from the outside, and only after your opponent blocked their territory completely, then you play your first 9 hane, which will always be Sente.
By the way, you can also watch these lessons on our platform, gomagic.org. Except there, you'll watch them with interactive quizzes right within the lessons and practical exercises right after them. And if you enjoy watching these Go videos and you don't want to miss others like this one, go smash that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and this is Go Magic.